Hello, children. Welcome to your English class. Today we'll go through the lesson Should Wizard Hit Mommy? Lesson number 5 from your Vistas, written by John Updike. Before peeping into the lesson, let us know a little more about the author. John Hoyer Updike, March 18, 1932 to January 27, 2009, was an American novelist, poet, short story writer, art critic, and literary critic. One of only four writers to win the Pulitzer Prize for fiction more than once, the others being Booth Takington, William Faulkner, and Colson Whitehead. Updike published more than 20 novels, more than a dozen short stories collection, as well as poetry, art, and literary criticism, and children's book during his career. Hundreds of his stories, reviews, and poems appeared in the New Yorkers starting in 1954. He also wrote regularly for the New York Review of Books. His most famous work is his Rabbit series, which chronicles the life of the middle class everyman Harry Rabbit Angstrom over the course of several decades from young adulthood to death. Both Rabbit is Rich 1982 and Rabbit at Rest 1990 were recognized with the Pulitzer Prize. The main characters of this story are Jack and Claire, who are the parents of Joanne and Bobby. Joanne is also called as Jo. Joanne, a 4-year-old girl, lovingly called as Jo. Jack, father of Joanne. Claire, wife of Jack and mother of Joanne. Skunk, you can see the picture of the skunk here, a baby creature with a bad smell. Mother skunk, mother of baby skunk. Owl, a wise creature that solves the problem. Wizard, a magician. Let me just introduce this lesson to you. Little children love to hear stories from their parents at bedtime. Such stories are mostly fables and have no logic behind them. Many a time, parents make up stories out of their own head. Little children take them as literally true. But as the child grows up, he becomes inquisitive. He begins to ask many questions. He wants to know why and how certain things happen. He wants to know the reason behind things. Sometimes parents take this questioning of the child as an affront. They try to discourage it. They want the child to accept as true whatever is said to him or her. Is such an attitude desirable? This story poses this very question. A father tells his child a story out of his head. The child interrupts him a number of times. She raises questions whenever she feels that the story is wrong. The father feels himself caught in an ugly middle position. He does not know whether he should accept the child's version or stick to his own. Thus, the story raises a moral issue and leaves it to the readers to resolve it. Let us now go through the theme of this lesson. The story raises a moral issue if the parents should always decide what the children should do or let the children do what they like to do. Children dream and live in their own magical world. They are devoid of despise, ugliness, and petty differences. They are pure at heart. This story raises a moral question at this point. Should Wizard hit Mommy? Joe feels that he must. Jack says that it would be wrong because a mommy is always right. She should be loved and respected. Now, as you hear the story further, I hope it will be easier for you to decide whether Joe is correct or whether her father is correct. So, here we are going to go through the story. Jack was the father of two little kids, Joe and Bobby. His wife Claire was carrying their third child. Jack would tell a story to his daughter Joe out of his head. That is, he used to make it up. He used to tell these stories either in the evenings or for Saturday naps. Naps refers to a short sleep. This custom of storytelling began when Joe was only 2 years old and it was continuing for the last 2 years. So Joe was 4 years old now. Each new story only differed a bit from the basic tale. There always was a small creature whose name was Roger. Okay, and the name of the creature changed like Roger Fish, Roger Chipmunk, Roger Squirrel. And Roger always had a problem. He would go to the old wise owl. The owl would direct him to the wizard. The wizard would perform a magical spell and solve the problem of the creature. Then the wizard in turn would demand in payment a number of pennies greater than the number Roger creature had. But at the same time, he used to also direct the animal to the place where the exact pennies could be found. Then Roger would become so happy and he played many games with other creatures. Roger then would go home to his mother just in time to hear the train whistle that brought his daddy home from Boston. Jack then would describe their supper and the story was over. So children, here we see there was a usual pattern, okay, a set pattern of telling a story, and Jack used to follow it by changing the name of the character and changing the problem of the character. Jack found this storytelling session specially tiring on Saturday because Joe never fell asleep in naps any more. One Saturday, Jack asked Joe about whom the story should be today. And Roger Skunk, she said firmly, because she might have studied about a creature named Skunk at school. Jack started the story of the tiny creature skunk who lived in the dark, deep woods. His name was Roger Skunk. And what was his problem? His problem was that he smelled very bad. He smelled so bad that the other animals of the jungle would not play with him. They would run away and Roger Skunk would stand there all alone. So here we see that the problem that Roger Skunk was the bad smell. Now Roger Skunk, he went to the wise old owl and told his problem. The owl asked the skunk why he did not see the wizard. Then he went to the wizard and told that he smelled very bad and all the little animals used to run away from him. The wise old owl, as usual, advised him to go to the wizard. The wizard took his magic wand and asked Roger what he wanted to smell like. Roger thought and he said he would like to smell like roses. The wizard chanted some magical spells and Roger Skunk started smelling like roses. The wizard asked Roger Skunk to pay 7 pennies. Roger Skunk said that he had only 4 pennies and he began to cry. The wizard directed Roger to go to the nearby magic well and he would find 3 pennies there. Roger Skunk took out the 3 pennies from the well and gave them to the wizard. Now all the other animals gathered around him because he smelled so good. He smelled like roses, and they all together played various games. They laughed and they enjoyed. It began to get dark, so they all ran home to their mummies. Joe thought that the story was all over. So Joe was listening to the story very keenly. And when her daddy narrated this part, she felt that the story had come to an end. Most of us like a happy ending for a story. Joe too wanted the story to end in a very happy note. Through this picture, I'm just trying to depict the situation that was there in the forest. Here you can see Roger Skunk. He is asking the other creatures that will you all play with me? And the creatures in turn tell him to go away because he smells very terrible. So basically Roger Skunk doesn't have any friends. And some of the creatures run away because he has a very bad smell. Very sad, he goes to the old wise owl to seek his advice. And the old wise owl directs Roger Skunks to go to the wizard. Here you can see that Roger Skunk has come to the wizard. You can see the wizard with his magical wand. Roger mentions his problem to the wizard, and the wizard says some magical spell and asks Roger how he would like to smell. And Roger says he would like to smell like roses. After chanting some magical spell, Roger Skunk starts smelling like roses. The wizard asks him for 7 pennies, but Roger had only 4 and he started crying. But then wizard directed him to the magic well where he could get the remaining 3 pennies. Roger was very happy. He went back to his friends. They all laughed and played with him. As it was getting dark, all the creatures went back to their home. Roger was also very happy and he too went back home. When Roger Skunk went home, his mummy said that the smell was awful. And she also asked him that who made him smell like that. Roger Skunk said that the wizard did so. She said that they were going right back to that wizard. Roger said that all the other animals would run away with his bad smell, but his mother said she did not care about it. He should smell the way a little skunk should have smelled. So she took Roger with her and went to the wizard. When the wizard opened the door, she hit him with her umbrella and explained how the wizard's magic infuriated her, that is, made her angry. The wizard spelled another magic, and Roger smelled as foul as he did earlier. But she was displeased with this new ending and wanted her father to make the wizard hit Roger's mommy. So here we see that Joe is not at all happy with the ending of the story and she wants that the wizard should hit Roger's mother. But Jack was not ready to make any changes as he thought Joe should accept him without questioning. Joe protested, but Jack said that it was Daddy's story. He said that Roger Skunk and her mummy went home. They had supper, and when Roger Skunk was in bed, Mommy Skunk came up and hugged him and said she loved him very much. He told her that the story ends there. Here, beta, we see that Joe was not at all happy with the ending of the story. She wanted Roger to smell like roses. She wanted Roger to have friends. She wanted that the wizard should hit mommy for taking this wrong decision. But Joe's father did not accept the ending that was suggested by Joe. Here we can see that Roger's mother has come to the wizard, and she is hitting the wizard with her umbrella, and the wizard has again spoken some magical spell and changed the smell of Roger's skunks from the roses to the same bad, awful smell. Mother skunk and Roger skunk, they both go back home. They can hear the sound of the train whistling coming from Boston. They all sat together and had their supper. And when Roger was laying down in his bed, his mother went and hugged him, and she also told him that she loved him the way he was. Joe asked her daddy if the other animals ran away from Roger's skunk. Jack said no, they finally got used to the way Roger's skunk was and did not mind it at all. Joe commented that she was a stupid mummy. He asked her to have a long nap as her brother Bobby was also sleeping. Joe told him that she wanted him to tell her the story the next day that wizard took the magic wand and hit that mummy. So here we can see that Joe was not ready to accept this ending, and she wanted her daddy to tell a story the following day where the wizard should hit mommy with his magic wand. So Jack said that it was not the story. The point is that the little skunk, he loved his mother more than he loved all other animals. Moreover, the mother, she knew what was right for her son. But Joe insisted that tomorrow he should say that the wizard hit that mummy. Jack said that he would see and asked her to go off to sleep. Jack closed the door and he went downstairs as Claire was busy painting the chair with the brush. And as he went down, he could hear the footsteps vibrate. These were Joe's footsteps. She was being restless. He threatened to beat her, and then the footsteps slowed down. Claire observed that it was a very long story. And Jack simply said, the poor kid. He watched his wife working hard on the woodwork. She was doing painting work, and honestly, he did not want to go close to her since she was so shabbily dressed up and all her clothes were filled with the paint. Thus, the writer displays adult authority on one hand and the child's inquisitiveness on the other hand. So here children, you can see a picture depicting Claire painting, okay, and she's busy painting. You can see it's all shabby around, and Jack has come to help her, but looking at the condition, he doesn't want to go closer to her. He's very tired with the storytelling session. So I hope you all understood the story well. You all have to give a thorough reading of your lesson. Have a good day, children. God bless you. Bye.